This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. So let us continue our discussion on advanced parts in user administration. Yesterday we have seen special permissions. Now we are going to start with ACL. ACL stands for Access Control List. See, let me explain you one situation where we need the concept of ACL. Let us say that you have a file called my file, and on this file you need different requirements. For example, you have a user called u1, and for u1 you need read write execute permission. Same way, I have one more user called u2. For u2 I want read and write permission. Same way, I have U3 and I need just read permission. And thereafter, you have some groups like G1, I need read and execute permission, and G2, I need just read permission, and G3, I need no permission at all. So you see, on a single file for a different user, for a different group, I need different permissions. So file is one, but U1 should get different access, U2 should get different access, U3 should get different access. And same way, G1, G2, G3, these people should have a different access. Okay, so how I'm going to give different access permission to different users or group? The answer is with the help of ACL. We need to create a list on the file that which user will get what access and which group will get what access. Okay, so let us see how actually we are going to work with that ACL. See, basically, you can create a file anywhere you like in the system and you can start protecting with ACL. Right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a directory in slash so that all the users can access it. Right? Slash is a place where every user can come. So I'm creating a directory in slash with the name called ACL, and inside ACL I'm going to perform ACL tests. So let me create one file, my file. Now this file is having normal concepts so far, normal permissions and owner group information, etc. Now I need to build an ACL in this fashion, the way what we have discussed. Okay. Now first of all, let me check. Do I have users with the name called U1, U2, U3? So you see, I have three users. Do I have group with the name G1, G2, G3? Let us check it out. No, I don't have a group with those names. So let me first create the groups. I'll say group add G1, group add G2, and group add G3, right? So now you see I have three users and three groups ready. So I can go ahead and apply ACL. First of all, I would like to check on my file already any ACLs are applied or not. To check if there is already any ACL or not, we have a command called get FACL, get file ACL, with some options. D is going to display the default ACL, and if it is a directory, you want to see directory and all the files inside it, all ACLs in a single shot, then you can go with recursive option. So anyway, it's a file, you can simply say get facl my file. Show me if there is any ACL applied on my file. So you see it says my file has owner root, group owner root, user has what permission, group has what permission, and others have what permission. It is not at all showing you in the list of user different names of users, in the list of group different name of group. It is not displaying any such thing. So that means there is no ACL applied. It is just showing you simple normal information. Now I would like to apply ACL, right? As per what we have discussed. To apply ACL, guys, we have a syntax set FACL. To view get FACL. To change set FACL. Set FACL options argument file name or directory name. What are the option? -m to modify ACL, -x to remove a member from the list, right? And capital R recursive. That means you want to apply ACL on the directory and all its content, then you have to go with recursive. And a very dangerous option -b to banish or remove all ACLs, whatever you have applied in a single shot. If you want to remove all those ACLs, then you can go for B. And two possible arguments are there: U colon to give username, G colon to give group name. For example, I wanted to give U1 full access, read, write, execute, U2 read, write, U3 read, and G1, G2, G3 also in this fashion, right? So how can I apply that ACL? You need to say set FACL as we are modifying. Like when we were modifying normal permission, we use chmod. So here also -m. M stands for modifying, right? So I'm trying to modify the ACL for whom? Are you going to modify for a user or a group? If it is a group, you have to give G colon. If it is a user, you have to give U colon. What's the name of the user? Whatever might be the name. In our case, the name of the user is U1. Now, what permission you want to give? I want to give read, write, execute. Or simply you can type 7 also. 7 also means read, write, execute. On which file? The file name is my file. Now, if you check out get FACL, you'll find in the list of user, there is a new user added U1 who will get read, write, execute permission. Now, whatever might be the permission on the file, suppose on the file you have given only read access to everyone, read access to user, read access to group, and read access to other. That's it. Even though you have given just read access to everyone, still U1 will get full access. Now it doesn't matter what permission actually is applied on the file. You change it to 000, no permission. Still because of ACL, U1 will be accessing with full rights. So we are separating a user permission from the total file permission. So whatever might be the file permission, this fellow is guaranteed to always get full access. Now, same way, I want to add a group G1 into this list. So again, I'll repeat the same command, set facl-m. I'm trying to add a group this time, so I'll go with G colon. What's the name? G1. What permission do you want to give to G1? I want to give read and execute permission. So I'll say read and execute. On which file? My file. Now you just check it out. You'll find that in the list of group, a group G1 added read and execute. Now whatever might be the permission on this file, always this group fellows will get read and execute access. That's it. Okay, so that is how this particular thing is going to work out. So we are giving some permission and that permission will be fixed. Now the file you are giving 777 or 765 or 644, whatever set of permission you give, these people will always be stuck to what ACL is providing them the permissions. Now let us say that I want to go with remaining two users U2, U3 and remaining two groups G2, G3 at a time. All four I want to give at a time. So I'll say set facl-m. You can start with user or you can start with group. That is your choice. I'm going with user. I'll say that is a user called U2 and I want to give read and write access. Comma, it's not yet finished. I want to give next user, next groups also. So I'll give a comma and then I'll say U colon and the name is U3. What access you want? I wanted to give just read permission. Then again, I will give comma. This time it is a group, so I'll go with G colon. What's the name of the group? G2. G1 is already added. I'm adding G2. What permission? Suppose read and execute permission, right? Or read write permission, whatever. Then G3, I don't want to give any permission. When you want no permission for a user or a group, you can say no read, no write, no execute by giving three dashes. Or simply you can mention zero, no access. On which file? My file. Right? So it says there is an invalid argument where I made a mistake. Okay, I did not mention G colon here. That was my mistake. If it is a user, you have to give U colon. If it is a group, I have to give G colon. So here I forgot to give G colon. That was my mistake. Now if I go with get facl and the file name, so you'll see that U2 is having read write access, U3 is having read access. Same way, G2 is having read and execute access and G3 does not have any permission. So that's the way how you can apply your ACL as per your requirement. Now, according to this list, the access will be provided. Whether the file is having 777 full access, still G3 members will not get any access. U3 will only get read access. U2 will only get read-write access. That's how it is going to work out. Now let us say that you want to uh, check on a file ACL is applied or not. So normally you are going with getFACL. GetFACL is showing you in detail what ACL is applied. But over here, you can see when you run ls-l and the file name, you will find that file permissions are ending with plus. So when you see a permission is ending with plus, this is also an indication that ACL is applied. See, always I cannot check on every file with getfacl, ACL is applied or not. Normally we run ls-l. So when you run ls-l, if the file permissions are ending with plus, that means ACLs are applied on the top of this. Okay, all right. Now moving ahead, I would like to remove few members from the list. For example, I want to remove U3. I don't want U3 to be there anymore in that list. So you can say set facl hyphen X. X will allow you to remove a member from the list. One member or two member you can choose. So I'm going with a single member, that is U3. From which file? My file. So you see, U1 is there, U2 is there, but U3 is not there. So U3 can be removed, right? So that's the way how you can remove a member from the list. Then same way, let us say that you want to remove a group, which is G3. To remove a group from the list, you can again try set facl-x remove G3 from my file. But you see it says invalid argument. Why it is telling invalid argument this time? See, the same way I removed U3, but at that time it did not give me invalid argument. Why only now I'm getting that error? The reason is you have removed a member which is a user earlier. Now you are trying to remove a group. For user, you don't have to say explicitly that this is a user. But while deleting a group, you have to say explicitly that remove a group. You need to give G colon followed by group. G colon is mandatory. Now you go with get FACL. You see G1 is there, G2 is there, but there is no G3 in the list. So that is the way how this particular concept is going to work out. So while you are removing a group, you have to mandatorily give G colon, otherwise it will be treating it as a syntax error. Now let us say that you want to remove entire list of ACL, no ACL whatsoever. So if you want to remove complete ACL, then you need to say set facl hyphen b and the file name. So you see entire ACL is wiped out, right? So if it contains the list of 100 users, all 100 users will be removed in a single shot. That's how ACL will be working out. Now let's say that I would like to do the same thing on a directory. So let me create a directory. I'll say my dir, and inside this directory, I'm going to add some members. So, or some files, I'm sorry, not members. I'll say in my directory, create file 123. So guys, I have this directory, and in that directory, I have three files. Now, what I want to do is I want to apply ACL on the directory and each file present inside it. So first of all, I would like to check already any ACL is applied or not. You see, the file permission is not ending with plus. All the files you check, they are also not ending with plus. They are all ending with what? Dot. Now, if you want to apply ACL recursively on the directory and all the files inside it, Then you have to say set FACL hyphen capital R. Recursive is used always to apply something on the directory and all its content. So if you want to apply this on the directory and all the contents inside it, then you have to say recursively modify the ACL. For whom you are trying to apply this, I'll say I'm going to apply this for a user. What's the name of the user? Username is U1. What permission? Read, write, execute, comma. Then I have again a user. You can go with one user, one group, or all users, then all group, or first group, then users. Any permutation, any combination you want, you can go for it. So I'm going with all users first. So I'll say U colon U2. What permission? Read write. Then again U colon U3. What permission? Just read permission. Then I'll give comma. Then I'll be going with groups. So I'll say G colon G1 and the permission I want is read and execute, for example. Then G2, maybe I want uh, read and write permission. Then G3, for example, I don't want any permission, so I'll be giving 0. On which directory? My directory. Did I make again a mistake somewhere? Okay, let me just correct myself once again. Set FACL, I want to recursively modify ACL for a user U1, which is read write execute, comma. Again, next is a user. Username is U2. Read and write. Then again, there is a user U3 for whom I want read access. Then we have a group called G1, read and execute permission. Then again, there is a group called G2 for whom read and write permission. Then again, there is a group called G3 for whom I don't want any permission on my directory. Okay, so this time it is perfect. Now, if you just check ls-ld and the directory permission, you'll find that directory is ending with a plus. And if you check all the files inside it, even all the files inside it, they are ending with a plus. Now, if you want to check all ACLs recursively, then you can say get FACL -R. See, set is for changing, get is for viewing. So I want to view ACLs recursively on my dir. Now I expect the output to be very lengthy, so I'll be using more option to pause it. So I'll say more and let me hit enter. So you see file, it is talking about my directory, showing you this ACL. File 1, same ACL. File 2, same ACL. File 3, same ACL. So this is the way how you can apply same set of ACL on the directory and all its content by using recursive option. Now let us say that recursively you want to remove a member from the directory and all the files. I want to remove U3. So I'll say set FACL hyphen capital R. Recursive is always to remove directory and all its content. Recursively, I want to remove X, a member called U3 from my dir. Now, if you run getFACL and confirm it, you'll see U1 is there, U2 is there, but there is no U3. Same is the concept with file 1, file 2, and same you will get on file 3 as well. Now, if you want to remove recursively a group, then you can say set facl hyphen capital R. Recursively, I want to remove a group. Now, when you are removing a group, remember you have to give G colon followed by the group name. If you don't give G colon, it may treat as a syntax error for a group. So I want to remove G3. From which particular directory? My dir. Now, if you just check it out, you see that G1 is having this access, G2 is having this access, right? Same thing, there is no G3 in the list. It has been removed for all the users and for all the files and the directory as well. Now, suppose recursively you want to abolish total ACLs. So you can say set FACL hyphen capital R and then B to banish all the ACLs recursively. And what is the directory name? My dir. Now if you just check it out, get FACL, see on my directory there is no ACL, file 1 no ACL, file 2 no ACL, and file 3 also no ACLs. In fact, you can check ls-ld, the directory name, ls-l, the content. None of them is ending with a plus. So this is how ACLs will be working. So on the same file, for whom you want to give what access, you can give it. Right? File is one, but access is different for each user and each group of your choice. Right? Okay, now similar to this, we have our next concept that we are going to cover up, that is Sudo, which is very, very important. Every organization uses these concepts very well, especially Sudo. See, Sudo stands for substitute user do or super user do. What happens in working environments, guys, that not everyone, or in fact very few fellows, will be having root password, right? Not everyone will be given root access for security reason, obviously. If you want, for you there will be a normal user created and you have to log in. You have to work with your personal credential. No super user password will be shared. Now guys, if super user password or root user password is not given to me, I cannot do admin tasks. For example, I want to install software, I want to change networking, I want to create a user, or I want to change the user password or parameters, or I want to deal with LVMs. Nothing will be allowed. A normal user cannot do all these activities. So how I can provide delegation, how I can give access to these users some important commands without letting them know root password. I don't want to say root password to anyone, but I want to give them access to certain important command. So this concept will be done with the help of sudo. So user will be logging with their personal credential, and once they have logged in, anything they have to do, they need to use sudo as a prefix. They need to say sudo and the command, sudo and the command. So a normal user will be given privilege, right, with the help of sudo. So they will be logging into the system as a normal user, but anytime they want to do any important task, they'll be using sudo followed by the command. So with the help of sudo, you can make a member as root. Same like root, you can make them administrator so that they can do anything, anywhere, whatever they want. Or you can restrict a user only for certain activities, like only these things they can do and other things they cannot do. Or only these commands they can run, other commands cannot be run. So in ACL, we were controlling access to the file. Who can read, write, execute on my file? That we were controlling in ACL. Here in the whole system, which command people can run, we are trying to control. So they are close enough. There you are controlling a specific file, that who can access it with what permission. Here, entire operating system, what command which people can run. So very much similar concept is there, but sudo is bigger when compared to ACL. ACL is limited to one file or two file, but here it is limited to entire operating system, that in my whole OS, which fellow can run what command. So the rules related to sudo is kept in a special file, etc sudoers. etc sudoers is a file, that is a file which contain all the activities related to sudo. Right now, we should not directly edit that file. If you want to make changes in this file, then we should edit this file by using vi sudo command. When you run pi sudo, automatically it opens etc sudo files in vi prompt only. Now, when we are getting vi prompt only, then why shall I not directly edit it? The reason is, if you directly edit the file and you made a mistake in the file, now you save it, it will get saved with error. But if you edit the file with vi sudo and suppose you have done a mistake, so in that scenario, it is not going to allow you to save. It will stop and tell you that there is a mistake in so and so line number. What now? Would you like to quit by typing Q, or would you like to edit it back by typing E? Right? So that is what the importance of vi sudo command is. Right? Syntax checking will always be done. And in sudo files, there are three things that we can control. Which user from what terminal can run what commands. Now guys, user and command we can control, but terminals is something which we cannot control. Terminals are like seat. I cannot guarantee that always root will be logging to terminal 0 and other users will be logging to terminal 1 only. It's like a seat. Whoever comes first will get that seat. So we will ignore the terminal. People from all terminal doesn't matter what command they can run, that we are going to control. So we will concentrate on which user is allowed to run what command instead of going with terminals also. Now let us say that in my system, I have a user called my user. Now what I want from my user is, I want to make my user as an administrator so that he can do any task anywhere in the system. So to do that, we will edit the file by using vi sudo. Now this file is created so beautifully that you don't need any instructor to explain this concept. Simply, you have to read the file, copy something, paste it, and create your rules. The most concept what we are going to do in that file is copy paste only. Now I'll go to bottom of the file by pressing Shift G. Now over here, you see there is a line which says allow root user to run any commands anywhere. So root user from all terminals can run all command. Now let us say I want to make my user also the same. So just copy this line YY, paste it below P, remove the name of root user and type the name my user. Now my user from all terminals can run all commands anywhere, wherever it is. Right? So let me save and quit. Now, as you have edited this file, one more thing, this command, this file is only edited as root user. Normal users cannot even come to that file, right? It's an important file. Only root has access to that file. Now let me open another session. Let me log in as my user. Now with my user, I will try to run commands directly. I'll say fdisk-l. It says permission denied. I'll say parted-l, not allowed. Or you try different command, user mod, something. It is not going to work out for you. Okay, so in this particular concept, if you want to run a command with sudo power, you need to use a prefix always starting with sudo. Sudo and whatever command you want to run. Now, if in etc sudo files you are allowed to do certain activity, then sudo command will work for you. So I'll say sudo fdisk-l. For the first time, whenever you are trying to run this particular command, it is going to ask you a question. What's the question? Uh, Please type your password one more time. See, for the first time, it also gives you some lecture. Respect the privacy of other. Think before you type. With great power comes great responsibility. Overall, it is trying to let you know that some important thing has been given to you. Now, don't misuse this or facility what has been provided to you. That is what it is trying to tell. So we should not misuse the facility. Now it is asking you the question. See, if you leave the terminal unattended for the long time and then you are running sudo command, again it will prompt you the password. Or first time you have logged in and trying to execute sudo command, it will prompt you to type your password to confirm that you are my user. So let me type my user's password, and you see the command which I was not able to run directly, I am able to run with the help of sudo. Now you can say sudo parted-l, no problem. Or I'll say sudo, for example, route. I'm trying different command, maybe few commands you don't know as of now. We will learn in the coming time. Or maybe I'll say sudo lvs. All commands are being executed. But guys, it is not like that you are using sudo power running the command and nobody is watching you. It's not like that. Each command you are executing with sudo will get stored in a log file. Where is the log file? Var log secure. You see, I showed you this earlier, that var log secure will contains your log activities, that what time you have logged in, what time you have logged out, and all those things. Now, if you view this file, in fact, I'll show you last 15 lines. So you see that it is telling you that few times sudo command has been executed, right? So you see sudo session started by my user and my user executed parted command. Then route command has been executed. Then lvs command has been executed, right? So this is what happened. Whenever you log in as sudo, it is always going to log the activity that what commands you have stored. But guys, these commands information is getting stored in a general log file where all general log, what time you have logged in, what time you have logged out, and other things are stored. Now inside it only my sudo activities are stored. Now let us say that I don't want to always come to this file to watch sudo activity. This is really important. I want my own separate log file only and only for sudo, where only sudo activities are stored. So if you want to maintain only a sudo separate log, then you have to pass one parameter. You need to go to sudo file and you need to mention defaults log file equals to whatever wherever you want to create a log file. Generally logs are kept in var log, so I'm using var log followed by the log file. Okay, so what I'll do now, I'll say vi sudo anywhere you like, either at the beginning of the file, middle of the file, or bottom of the file, whatever. I'm just typing one information, sudo log file, and I'll say that defaults space log file, right? I want to keep it in var log with the name sudo.log. So now all the times the logs are getting generated, I'm going to, store my logs at sudo.log. Now, one more thing is there, guys. When you say my user can run all commands from any terminal, whenever you are leaving the terminal empty or idle for long time, and again you are running sudo command, it is going to prompt you password. Or whenever you logged out and again log in as my user using sudo, first time it will definitely going to ask you password. Now suppose you don't want any time, neither first time nor 10th time, I don't want it to prompt me password. So you can use this keyword. You can say no password, then all. If you use no password, then it is never going to prompt you a password, right, to confirm that you are the same user. So if you want to allow people to run command without prompting for the password for first time, then you can keep no password colon all. I don't prefer it because asking password is good for security reason. So I personally feel that it should prompt password. Long time I did not attended the session and again I'm trying to log in. It should prompt password. That is good for security. But if there is a requirement, you can give no password all to never prompt password while using sudo command. Okay, anyway, let me save and quit. Right, there was no error, it saved properly. Now I'll try to do some activity as that user. I'll say sudo route, sudo lvs, sudo parted-l, or sudo fdisk-l, whatever. Now go back to root and say cat var log sudo.log. So did you see that sudo is created? Right? So this is the way you can now have a separate log file. Originally, the logs are collected in secure only. From secure, it is copying all the sudo activities in a separate file so that you should not search for sudo activity in that file. Whenever a sudo activity happen, automatically the logs will be copied to this file also. Okay, all right. Now let us say that I have 4 users or 10 users whom I want to make as administrator. What shall I do? If I have 10 users to make them admin, shall I create 10 rules in etc sudo files? U1, U2, U3 like that? Possible, but how many lines I need to create? 10 lines, 10 rules. Instead of that, whenever you are having multiple users to whom you want to make as an admin, then the best thing what I prefer is creating a group. In that group, add members and make that group as an admin. So automatically all the members of the group will become admin. Easy. In fact, by default, there is an admin group available in Linux. What is that admin group name? It is wheel, right? If you just check it out, there is a group called wheel, right? Now, wheel is an admin group. If you add a member into wheel, automatically that member will get full access. He becomes root. If you remove the member from that wheel group, he'll be ordinary member. It's like that. You can also create your group, you can add members to the group, and you can give your group admin right also. So I don't want to use wheel, I want to use my own group. For example, In etc group, you can see we have a group called SAP GRP. Now in SAP GRP, I'm going to add U1, U2, U3. We know how to add members to group. I'll say G password hyphen capital M. I want to add U1, U2, and U3. In which group? SAP GRP. Now guys, we have SAP GRP with 3 members, and I want to make SAP GRP as an admin group. So I'll go to vi sudo. Now go to bottom of the file, Shift G. See over here, it is giving you a syntax. Allows people in group wheel to run all command. So by default, there is a rule enabled that all members of wheel group from all terminals can run all commands. So if you add any member into wheel group, he'll become automatically admin. It's a default admin group in etc sudoers. But I don't want to use wheel. I want to use my own. So just copy this line YY and paste it below. So let me just come to this line. I'll say YY and let me paste it. Now guys, instead of wheel group, I need to type my own group name, that is SAP GRP. SAP GRP, all members from all terminals are allowed to run all commands. So that is how we are allowing all members of SAP GRP to run any command anywhere in the system. Instead of creating 10 lines for each user, I'm going to go for single line with a group. Now let me save and quit. One more thing you observe, that group name should be started with percentage symbol. If you don't use that percentage symbol, then it will search that name as a username. So it's not a username, it's a group name. So you need to start it with percentile and the group name. No syntax error. Let me log in as one of the member of that group. Oh, one second, let me reset the password. Okay, I'm going to log in as U1, who is the member of that group. So I'll say U1 and the password. Now let me try command directly. It is not going to work. But if you say sudo fdisk-l and hit enter, it is giving you same lecture and it is prompting you for the password. Now let me type my password and you see the member of that group is allowed to run any command anywhere. For example, I'll say sudo parted-l, no problem. Sudo vg create, anything I like, I can run the command. Proper syntax and my command will be executed. So this is how you can make a user as an admin, or you can make entire group as an admin group. Now onwards, if I want to make anyone as an admin, I don't have to go to sudo or files. Simply I'll add a member into the group, he'll become admin. Remove the member from that group, he'll be back to ordinary or normal user. Okay, all right. Now let's move ahead and let us see some more advanced things. For example, guys, I'm not interested to give all command access to my user or my group. Suppose I have an application user who works with SAP application or other application. Why should I give the application member full access? I only give him those command access which is needed for application. Or maybe there is a database user, so I'll only give those command access which is needed by database instead of giving full access to each and every one. For example, to this group SAP GRP, I want to give them only 3 commands access. What command? Maybe fdisk, parted, and mount. Just these 3 command access I want to give. So whatever command access you want to give, find the location by using which command. I'll say which fdisk which parted, and which mount. The location is USR has been fdisk, USR has been parted, and USR bin mount. These paths are really important. Now let me go to vi sudo, go to bottom of the file, Shift G, and over here is SAP GRP. Now SAP GRP is enjoying all command access. Now what I want to do, I want to remove that all, and in place of all, I'm going to type those command path. What is the path I copied? USR sbin fdisk. Then comma and space. Second command is USR sbin and parted. Comma and space. See, comma followed by space is important. If you don't use that space, it would be treated as a syntax error. Then the last one is USR bin mount. So these three commands access I want to give fdisk, parted, mount. If you have one more, you can give comma, space like that. Now let me try to save this file. I'll say escape colon WQ exclamation. You see, I made a mistake while putting that rule. So it stopped me while exiting. It is telling what now? There is a mistake in line number 109. If you want to quit with errors, you can type Q to quit with errors. Or if you want to go back and edit, you can type E. When you say E, it open back sudo file. It takes you to the line where you have done a mistake. Now what's the mistake in that line, guys? It is the extra comma what I have given at the end. So let me go to end of that line and let me get rid of comma. Let me save and quit. Now there is no problem. Let us go back to that member of the group U1. Now let me try sudo fdisk-l. No problem. Now if I say sudo parted-l, no problem. Let me say sudo mount, no problem. But if I say sudo something else, pv create, it says you are not allowed to run this command. Or sudo lvs, you are not allowed to do this activity. Sudo user add, it says you are not allowed to run these commands. So what I did, I restricted a user or a group only till 2 to 3 commands, which is necessary by that user. So instead of giving full access, I have given only that access which is required by that user or that group. Okay, now see, this fellow is trying many commands: pv create, lvs, user add. Now there should be a way how this user should also know that how many command access is given to this fellow. Unnecessarily he's trying many commands. So as a user, if you want to check how many command access is given to you, you can use a command sudo -l. When you run that L, it lists all the commands that are allowed to run by this user. So it says user 1 may run following commands, right? Fdisk, parted, and mount command. So that's how a user can be aware that how many commands have been allowed to that user. Okay, now moving ahead, I want to give bunch of command easily to a user or a group, and I want to remove bunch of command easily. For example, I want to give all networking related commands. See guys, I don't want to sit saying which and typing all the commands. And to remove again, search and remove all the commands manually. I don't want to do that hard work. I want a smart work that whenever I want, with single name, I want to assign bunch of commands. And with single name, I want to remove bunch of commands. So how can I assign bunch of commands and remove bunch of command with a single name? Let's come back to root user, go to vi sudo In vi sudo, if you read this file, that's the reason I told you reading this file is important. Now you see there is something called command aliases. What is this? These are group of related commands. See, that means these commands are few important related commands. Like you see, there is a group with the name called networking. In this group, you see all networking commands are stored. So now, if I want to give any user all network command access, I can simply use a keyword networking in capital letter. Automatically, all the commands inside it will be assigned to that user. Same way, if you want to give all software management commands, you can go with the word software and all the commands inside it will be allocated. Same way you have services, same way you have locate, storage, delegation, many of them are available. Suppose I want to use networking alias. See, by default, all these aliases are locked if you want to unlock them. See guys, in any configuration file, if the line is starting with hash, that means the line is commented. Commented means inactive line. If you want to activate it, then you have to remove that hash from the beginning. So I want to use networking alias. To use it, first of all, I have to remove the hash mark. Now that alias is activated, I'll go to the bottom of my file, and over here you see last time we have given 3 command access. Let me remove all those paths, and in place of that path simply I can type or copy paste networking, but this networking should be written in capital letter, otherwise it will not work properly. Now let me save and quit. Go to one of the member of that group. I'm already logged in as U1. Now you run sudo -l. Last time it granted only 3 commands, but now you see it is telling you that U1 can run all network related command, route, if config, ping, etc. Okay. Now let us say that I also want to create my choice customize alias. I don't want to use all the available aliases. I want to create my own alias, and I want to put few commands from user admin, few commands from networking, few commands from software management. Like that, I want to create my choice customize alias. Now, in order to do that, I'll go to vi sudo. In vi sudo, anywhere you like, you can create it, but I'm trying to create it somewhere over here, right after networking. So let me open a new line, and I'll also start by 2 hashes and the heading, I'll call it customized alias, right? And the syntax to use is command underscore alias, alias name in capital letter equals to. So I'm just copying and pasting it, and I'm going to remove that word networking and let me call it custom in capital letter. Now I want to put inside it bin rpm command comma space. Next command I want to put is sbin service comma space. Then I would like to put systemctl comma space, and maybe I want to put update db also. So in my alias I have stored around 4 commands. You can put 40 commands also, there is no problem, or 100 commands also as per your requirement. But what is the alias name I have to use here? Custom. Now let me go to bottom of my file one more time. Here is our SAP GRP to whom I have given networking. Now let me give a comma, space. Comma and space is very important, and I need to type the new alias, that is custom. Let me save and quit. You see there is no problem. So let me go to that user and let me again repeat sudo hyphen L. So you see, after all networking command, it is allowing you to go with RPM, service, systemctl, and update db command. So this is the way how you can create your choice customized alias, the set of command that you want to assign to any user frequently as per your requirement. Whatever commands are used, you can put it into a group and you can assign that group to any user so that that user or group is able to run the commands what we want to allow them. Okay, all right. Now, guys, apart from this, there is one user called U1 to whom I have given full access. See, I did not run sudo command for the long time on this my user terminal. So if you left it unattended for 2 minutes and again you are trying sudo command, it will first ask you password. Whenever you log out and again log in and trying first time sudo command, it asks password. If you left the terminal unattended, no activities happen, now again you are coming back and running sudo command, it will prompt you for the password. If you don't want that password prompting, then better you can say no password colon all the commands or whatever commands you want to run, right? So as of now, you see this user is allowed to run all commands anywhere in the system. Now, don't you think that all can be misused, right? Now, this is little dangerous activity to allow all. But still, if you want to allow all, you still have power to restrict few commands out of all. For example, if you just say that this user can say sudo vi sudo, can he edit the sudo files? Can he make new administrators? Yes, because he is getting access to vi sudo command. Also, this user can say SU. See, normally you can convert yourself to other user, but it asks for the password. Same thing if you do with sudo power as you're having all access. So when you say sudo su hyphen, has it prompt for password? No, and you are able to convert to U1. Now as U1 you can do mischief and unnecessarily U1 will held accountable. So if you don't want these two commands to be granted, see, I want all commands to work, no problem. But vi sudo and su command should not work for this user. So first of all, I'll find the location. I'll say which uh, vi sudo and which su. So the path is usr bin su and usr s bin vi sudo. So I want to restrict these two commands. I don't want these two commands to work. All commands should work, no problem. But out of all, these two commands should not be allowed to execute it. So I'll go to vi sudo. In vi sudo, again, I'll come to my user this time, where I have granted all command access. Let it be all, I don't mind, but I'll give comma and space. Now the command I don't want to allow, I have to start with exclamation. Exclamation followed by whatever command you want to block. Remember in user password also when exclamation appeared the password was not working. Same way here also when exclamation you give these commands will be locked. Right, comma, space. Second command I want to lock is usr bin su. So all commands will work, but these two commands will not work. Now let me save and quit. Now guys, I'll go to that user which is my user. Let me try sudo fdisk-l. There's no problem. If I say parted-l, no problem. If I say lvs, no problem. vgs, no problem. But if I say sudo vsudo, it says you are not allowed to run this command. Or sudo su-u3, it says you are not allowed to convert yourself to other user. So this is the way how we can use this particular concept, right? So that is it, guys, for today's session. If you have any questions related to this, you can put your questions now.
Yes, sir. Is there any other way to provide a normal user make as an admin without sudo?
No, sudo is the only way. Sudo is the only way to make an admin. This is a very frequently asked question in interviews also, that how would you make a normal user as an admin in Linux? There is only one way, that is with the help of sudo.
Okay. Without running any typing before sudo, we can't run any command, right? Like
See,
admin.
if you want to run as a non without using sudo as a prefix, then what you can do is you can convert yourself completely to root by saying sudo su hyphen. When you say sudo su hyphen, it converts yourself into root user, and then you can run direct command. No need to use sudo, but that is not recommended. Recommended method is you should use sudo. You see most of the examples, or when you get the documentations of your work, it prefers giving sudo command or sudo prefix first.
Okay. Thank you.
So if it is allowed, you can just say sudo su hyphen. Then it converts you to root user. Then no need to use sudo prefix. Directly you can run the command. But that is not a recommended method.
Okay.
Okay, I guess guys there are no other questions coming up. So that's fine. We'll stop the session here. Let's meet up tomorrow and see a new chapter, networking. Right? So thank you very much, guys. We'll stop the session here.